Hare Krishna, thank you for joining. Let's make a start and we will sing Radha Madhav first of all. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jayo Giravardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jayo Giravardhari Yashodanandana Vraj Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vraj Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanchari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Hari Hari Bol. Om Gyanatimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Svayamrupa Kadameham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuttapada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadutam Krishna Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shiva Shakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastate Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutadevi Pranmami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpata Vehescha Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo 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 Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Parcharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschati Dishatarine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasdi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Grim Yat Kirpatah Mandashi Gurundin Dharanam Brahmananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishram Hariyam Tassat Naram Namaskritya Naram Cheva Naruttam Devim Sasvit Vyasam Tato Jayamaduriyat Nashta Presha Abdureshu Nityam Bhagavata-Sevayā Bhavati Uttam Shloka Bhaktir Bhavati Nestaki Hare Krishna Jai. Okay, let's continue. Stop sharing this and we'll go on to verse 39. Okay, right. Verse 39. Atteha danya bhagavanta idam yad vasudeva khila lokanatha Kurvanti sarvatmakam atam bhavam nayatra bhuya privarta ugraha. So, thus, iha in this world, danya, successful, bhagavantaha, perfectly cognizant, idam, such, yat, what, vasudeva, onto the personality of Godhead, akhila, all embracing, lokanatha, onto the proprietor of all the universes. So, not just this universe, all the universes. Kurvanti inspires, Sarv Atmakam 100%. Atam, O Atma, spirit, Bhavam, ecstasy, Na, never, Yatra, wherein we have again, Parivartha, repetition, Ugraha, dreadful. So, Prabhupada's translation, only by making such inquiries in this world can one be successful and perfectly cognizant. For such inquiries invoke transcendental ecstatic love onto the personality of Godhead, who is the proprietor of all the universes, and guarantee 100% immunity from the dreadful repetition of birth and death. So only by making such inquiries, but you inquire from the right source. That's also very important, that you know the source is right and you will get the right answer. Perfect questions should also have perfect answers. So the inquiries of the sages headed by Shonak are herewith praised by Sutta Goswami on the merit of their transcendental nature. As already concluded, only the devotees of the Lord can know him to a considerable extent, and no one else can know him at all. So the devotees are perfectly cognizant of all spiritual knowledge. The personality of Godhead is the last word in the absolute truth. Impersonal Brahman and the localized Paramatma Supso are included in the knowledge of the personality of Godhead, but they are only partial truth. Bhagwan is the complete truth, the absolute truth. So one who knows the personality of Godhead can automatically know all about him. So if you know the absolute, then you will know the rest as well. His multipotencies and his expansions. So the devotees are congratulated as being all successful. A 100% devotee of the Lord is immune to the dreadful material miseries of repeated birth and death. So we have a disease, it's the material disease, and Guru Maharaj explains that when somebody goes to a doctor, does the doctor see whether this person is Muslim or Christian or Hindu? The doctor treats them all, without any discrimination. Similarly, people have a disease, the material disease, is prevalent everywhere, not only in this universe, all the universes, material disease is prevalent because illusory energy is there. Now it's our duty to immunize people, help people to get out of that disease and immunize them, so they don't catch that disease again. So that's our duty. And Prabhupada explains that sages feel that we don't have this pure devotion, this uninterrupted devotion service to Krishna, but he encouraged by saying that you are making such inquiries. A 100% devotee, we need to pray to become 100% devotee, not any less. Step by step, together, encouraging each other, like we are doing. So we pray for the mercy to help us to become 100% devotee, and then we go and help others, because as a 100% devotee, we are immune, and we give that immunization vaccine to other people as well, so we can help them. Just like the doctors, when there's like COVID was there, they were vaccinating everyone, helping everyone, so everybody is immune to that disease. And similarly, there's this material disease that we have to help others. So text 40. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samitam Uttam Shloke Charitam Chakar Bhagwan Rishi Nirhesh Yasya Lokasya Danya Svasti Ayanam Mahat. So Idam, this Bhagavatam, book containing the narration of the personality of Godhead and his pure devotees. That's what Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is. It's pastimes of the Lord and his devotees. So we learn from his devotees. Because in the case of God, we might think, well, he's God, he can do this. But Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam also has other Jiva Tattvas who demonstrate that it is possible to become an associate of the Lord. It is possible to go back home. Naam of the name, Puranam, supplementary to the Vedas, Brahma Samitam, incarnation of Lord Shri Krishna, Uttam Shloke, of the personality Godhead, Charitam, activities, Chakar, compiled, Bhagwan, incarnation of the personality Godhead, Rishi Shri Vyaste, Nihishreya Yasya, for the ultimate good, Lokasya, of all the people, Dhanyam, fully successful, Swasti Ayanyam, all blissful, Mahat, all perfect. So this Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the literary incarnation of God, and it is compiled by Srila Vyasadeva, the incarnation of God. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people, and it is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. So this is actually very important, because Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is a literary incarnation of God, and only God could compile it, right? It's literary incarnation of God. Only God could compile it, because we are saying that we humans have 4 defects. So you would need to be empowered by God to be able to write something which is perfect. And only God could do that. Only God could empower someone to do that. Because otherwise you'll be full of faults. And then, it's just like any scholarly thesis, they're full of faults, and then somebody comes along and finds the fault, and then he dominates that thesis, and then somebody else comes along and finds faults in him. But this is spotless, it is faultless. So Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu declared that Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the spotless sound representation of all Vedic knowledge and history. So Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he declared it, just in case people had any doubts. He declared it that it is spotless. There are selected histories of great devotees who are in direct contact with the personality of Godhead. Excuse me. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is a literary incarnation of Lord Shri Krishna and is therefore not different from him. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam should be worshipped as respectfully as we worship the Lord. Thereby we can derive the ultimate blessings of the Lord through its careful and patient study. As God is all light, all bliss, and all perfection, so also is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We can have all the transcendental light of the Supreme Brahman. Sri Krishna, from the recitation of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, provided it is received through the medium of the transparent spiritual master. So I'm just going to read this again. We can have all the transcendental light of the Supreme Brahman. Sri Krishna, from the recitation of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, provided it is received through the medium of the transparent spiritual master. Lord Chaitanya's private secretary, Srila Swarup Damodar Goswami, advised all intending visitors who came to see the Lord at Puri to make a study of the Bhagavatam from the person Bhagavatam. So personal Bhagavatam and the literal Bhagavatam. Personal Bhagavatam is the self-realized bona fide spiritual master, and through him only can one understand the lessons of Bhagavatam in order to receive the desired results. So here, we're trying to learn together. We're trying to make something of it together, trying to make some sense. I wouldn't say I was qualified, or I was a pure devotee, or I'm a person Bhagavatam. But this is like for us to sit and learn together, give our realizations. It's a start, right? Because otherwise we're waiting forever. It's a start. We don't have much time. We have to make the most of what we have. One can derive from the study of the Bhagavatam all benefits that are possible to be derived from the personal presence of the Lord. It carries with it all the transcendental blessings of Lord Sri Krishna that we can expect from his personal contact, because it is the literal incarnation of the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada keeps explaining so many times the importance of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, how important it is. He reminds us that it is very, very essential. Otherwise, why would Maharaj Parikshit choose to hear Bhagavatam at the end of his life, at the last 7 days? Why would he choose to do that? It's very, very important. And Srila Prabhupada explains that benefits of personal association of the Lord. So it says that in Govardhan Leela, Krishna reciprocates with all the devotees in all the different rasas. There is a lot of excitement. Everyone knows Krishna will save us in time of trouble. Krishna always saved them. Whenever any demons were coming, he would save them. And he even saved them from the torrents of rain that were coming. And he held everyone under the shelter of Govardhan Hill. So everybody had the confidence that Krishna will save us. Not necessarily because Krishna is God, but because they thought that he was blessed by Vishnu. He had a special blessing and he will save us. They didn't think he was God. They thought he was family, he was a friend, he was a lover. They were enjoying all the rasas with him, not as God himself. So we get Krishna's direct relationship, personal association, like Sudama. He can give us anything, just the bare necessity to serve him nicely. So Krishna can give us anything. If he feels that is required for our service, because he doesn't want to interfere with our service. He wants to help us in our service. So why would he give us something that is not conducive to serve him, right? This is the difference between demigods and Krishna. Demigods will give you something because you serve them, you ask them, and they will give you. But Krishna will not give you something that will not help your service. He wants to give you the biggest benediction, the biggest benefit, which is devotional service to him. So he will not give something. He gave something to Sudama, but he knew that because that would not interfere with the service. Sudama was a stout devotee, and it would not affect him. He didn't want anything. He was really for his family because they were struggling. The children were suffering. The wife was suffering. Krishna wanted to give them something. To Sudama, it made no difference whatsoever. But it might make a difference to us, right? To some of us, it might not then he already gives us, right? And if he doesn't, then it's God's protection. We have to look, and I'm not just talking about financial help. Other qualities like, oh, why am I not a great singer? Why I'm not a famous singer in Iskcon? Why am I not singing on this kirtan or that kirtan, or other things? Why I'm not the best person who gives the best class and everybody listens to my classes. Krishna knows your limitations, how much you can handle. He doesn't want us to get all puffed up about ourselves. I think humility very important, and he knows what our limitations are. The more we purify ourselves, the more Krishna will give us, because he knows that we can handle that. So I think we have to look at it like that. We have to look at our own journey, where we were when we started and where we are now, and not compare ourselves to other kirtaniers or people who give classes or anything else, or people in leadership. We have to look at our own journey, concentrate on that, and then we don't get envious of anyone, because there will always be somebody better. There's always somebody better than us. If not now, in the future, somebody will be better. That is the way of the world. So we look at ourselves, that how much have I improved, or how much have I got to improve? We just keep moving, looking at our own journey. We have our own journey, other people have their own journeys. So it's very, very important. So Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam explained as that it has unlimited benefits, the ultimate good of people. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is non-different from Krishna. It's fully conscious. We must not just read it, but as I always say to you, don't just read it, study it. And we get that from Srila Prabhupada's instructions. He said, don't just read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, study Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So when you're reading, make sure you have something, you got something from it, not just mechanically read it. But just say you find something in there, it has so much to offer. Okay. So we'll do one more, 41, and then on Monday we'll do 42, 43, 44, and then chapter 3 we finish. On Wednesday evening, please do join. We'll have an overview with His Grace Dinabandhu Prabhu. Right. Tad idam graham asa sutam atavatam varam sarva videti hasana saram samundratam. So that idam, this graham asa, made to accept sutam unto his son, atvatam of the self-realized, varam most respectful, sarva all Vedic literatures, books of knowledge, itihasanam of all the histories, saram cream, samuddratam taken out. So Shri Vyasadeva delivered it to his son, who is the most respected among the self-realized, after extracting the cream of all Vedic literatures and histories of the universe. Wow. So Shri Vyasadeva delivered it to his son, who is the most respected among the self-realized. So he's not just respected because he's Shri Vyasadeva's son. Right? He himself is self-realized. He's good as any self-realized person, after extracting the cream of all Vedic literatures and histories of the universe. So Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the creme de la creme. Men with poor fund of knowledge only accept the history of the world from the time of Buddha, or since 600 BC. And so we talk about civilization, we're talking about 2,000-3,000 years ago. Really, they might say that's when the records began. Sometimes they use that word, when records began. And prior to this period, all histories mentioned in the scriptures are calculated by them to be only imaginary stories. That is not a fact. All the stories mentioned in the Puranas and Mahabharata, etc., are actual histories. And not only of this planet, but also millions of other planets within the universe. Sometimes the history of planets beyond this world appears to such men to be unbelievable. But they don't know that different planets are not equal in all respects, and that therefore some of the historical facts derived from other planets do not correspond with the experience of this planet. Considering the different situations of different planets and also time and circumstances, there is nothing wonderful in the stories of the Purans, nor are they imaginary. We should always remember the maxim that one man's food is another man's poison. We should not therefore reject the stories and histories of the Purans as imaginary. So, it's very easy to, even in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, there's so many stories that, we find hard to believe, right? It's, really difficult to digest that. Is that really possible? Especially, Krishna, we can believe, but with other people, it's really not believable. I mean, typical cases like Maharaj Chitraketu, 10 million wives. I'm still trying to get my head around that. Is it possible to have 10 million wives? And how do you communicate with 10 million wives? Like that. But should Prabhupada mention that if it's there, then we must believe it, because we are probably thinking from our own perspective. There's a context and there's perspectives, and there's a way to everything. The great rishis like Vyas had no business putting some imaginary stories in their literature. So they, explained here that why would they put imaginary stories in their literatures? Why go through all that trouble to put some imaginary stories? And why would Maharaj Parikshit want to hear imaginary stories at the time of death? In the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, historical facts selected from the histories of different planets have been depicted. It is therefore accepted by all the spiritual authorities as the Mahapuran. The special significance of these histories is that they are all connected with activities of the Lord in a different time and atmosphere. Srila Sukadeva Goswami is the topmost personality of the self-realized souls, and he accepted this as the subject of studies from his father, Vyasadeva. Srila Vyasadeva is the great authority, and the subject matter of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam being so important, he delivered the message first to his great son, Srila Sukadeva Goswami. So he's a great authority because he compiled it, and he gave it to his son because his son, he was crazy about Bhagavatam. He wanted to hear shlokas from Bhagavatam, that would get his attention. So he was the right candidate to hear it first. It is compared to the cream of the milk. Vedic literature is like the milk of ocean of knowledge, whereas cream or butter is the most palatable essence of milk, and so also is Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. So Vedic literature is compared to milk, and Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is the cream of that milk, for it contains all palatable, instructive, and authentic versions of different activities of the Lord and his devotees. There is no gain, however, in accepting the message of Bhagavatam from the unbelievers, atheists, and professional reciters who make a trade of Bhagavatam for the laymen. It was delivered to Srila Sukadeva Goswami, and he had nothing to do with Bhagavat business. He didn't have to maintain family expenses by such trade. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam should therefore be received from the representative of Sukadeva, who must be in the renounced order of life without family encumbrance. Milk is undoubtedly very good and nourishing, but when it touched by the mouth of a snake, it is no longer nourishing. Rather, it becomes a source of death. Similarly, so Srila Prabhupada explains that similarly, those who are not strictly in the Vaishnava discipline should not make a business of this Bhagavatam and become a cause of spiritual death for so many hearers. So, if even Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is misinterpreted by anyone, just to spice it up, make it exciting, so they can earn money, then it is no longer nourishing. In fact, it becomes poisonous. So when say we are eating from eating out something, let's say chatapata or something like that, and you're not going to get any nourishment, because the person selling the chatapata, he's not interested in nourishing you. He wants to give you taste, right? He wants to see that you enjoy that and you happy to pay for it, and then you will come back and enjoy the taste again. So it's just basically taste. So if you want nourishing food, you cook it yourself at home, you offer it to Krishna, and then you eat it at prasadam. That is the real nourishment, spiritually and materially. That's real nourishment. When you're eating out, you're eating taste, you're not eating nourishment. So similarly here, Bhagavatam is heard by somebody who's selling you, he's charging for it. If he's selling it to you, then he's just selling you taste. He's not selling you the nourishment. And in fact, it could be even poison, as Srila Prabhupada explains. In the Bhagavad-Gita, the Lord says that the purpose of all the Vedas is to know Him. And Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is Lord Krishna Himself, Shri Krishna Himself, in the form of recorded knowledge. Therefore, it is the cream of all the Vedas, and it contains all historical facts of all times in relation with Shri Krishna. It is factually the essence of all histories. So you can see how Srila Prabhupada is reiterating again and again the glories of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. This is so amazing. So, higher planets, there are higher. So Srila Prabhupada explains that in higher planets, there are higher experiences and higher quality of life. We cannot compare with our own planet. And I think this is what happens sometimes. We're comparing, only by what we know. Why should Vyasadeva waste his time putting some elderly stories? As I've said, knowledge comes through disciplic succession, and we should accept it. Because it comes through disciplic succession means that this is not something that we could work out ourselves. It has to come all the way from Krishna like a train in the succession to us from the higher authority. It's not something we can work out ourselves. And it comes through realized souls who dedicated their lives to the cause. People hear your words, Krishna hears your intention, so it's about changing your intention. And that's what it's all about. Krishna, he doesn't need anything from us. All he wants is our intention. Because what else can we offer him? We cannot offer him anything else. We can only offer him our intention. Okay, excuse me. Right, so here we are. And I thank you once again for joining, and love to hear from you all. And we will start with Sureshi Mataji, of course. Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, can't hear you.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Very nice verification of Bhagavatam, how important the Bhagavatam is, and how much from Bhagavatam. And it is the 18th Puran, when Vyasadeva wrote all the Puranas, but he wasn't happy. I mean, we read about it, and Narad Muni met him, and he said, "Why not happy? Because there's something I have done, I can't own finger." Says, "If one glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead." Then he wrote, I think, Purana, and it is third incarnation of Supreme Lord, and is the crest jewel of all scriptures. And because it's the top of all the scriptures, when we read Bhagavatam, actually, because this is Krishna himself, we are associating with him, and taking shelter of him as well. He's protecting us. If you read Bhagavatam, it protects you. Bhagavatam glorifies not only the Supreme Lord, but it glorifies his pure devotees and Vaishnavas like Dhruv Maharaj. It glorifies Dhruv Maharaj. What he done, it glorifies Prahlad Maharaj. It Maharaj Pitur, Amrish Maharaj, how he was using all his senses for the Supreme Lord. And the Bhagavatam should be heard from the disciplic succession, the the Vaishnavas or spiritual master to get the full benefit, because they can reveal the supreme truth. As we said, we just had it that like it's a milk studied by serpent, it gets contaminated. So if you hear from the non-Vaishnava or people who make money, we don't get any benefit. And we are tangled in this material world with our contaminated senses. So we should take shelter of Bhagavatam and try to get out of this material world. And as I say, it's a very tough, no scriptures are higher than Bhagavatam, because I just for 1 minute, I'm just tell one instance of glorifying Bhagavatam. It's not in our Prabhupada's Bhagavatam, it's in Hindi. I've read Hindi Bhagavatam as well. And it's a glorification of Bhagavatam, that how Bhagavatam is top of all the scriptures. I mean, there was Brahmana, his name was Atmadev, and he had no children, he had no son, so he pleaded with the Rishi, and Rishi gave him 1 mango. He said, give it to your wife, and tell her to take the wife, she'll have a son. But the wife was very nasty woman. She wasn't very nice. She was very cruel, always fighting with the husband. And she thought, if I'll eat the mango, I mean, I can't go to here and there, I can't dress up nicely. So she gave the mango to the cow. And then her sister was living with her, and she said, I'm pregnant, I'll give you the baby and tell her husband it's his baby. So the cow who ate the mango gave her son, whose name was Gokaran. He was human form, but his ears was like a cow, Gokaran. And this the Adonis Dhundakari he done with that. And he was very, very bad man, very demonic nature he had. And the Gokaran was very saintly nature. So his father was so fed up with him, he went to the forest. And the mother, he was asking mother, he said, give me money, otherwise I'm going to kill you. The mother committed suicide. And he was very, very demoniac person, and he used to steal and feed the prostitute, his wife, and the wife that killed him. And they said, he's stealing every day. When the king find out, we'll be in trouble as well. So he killed him. They killed him, and he became a ghost. And so when Gokaran came from pilgrimage, he had a dream, or he could see that his brother, he died, he became different form. And he said, so he started doing all the sacrifices, reading all the Puranas, and even reading Bhagavad-Gita. But still, he was saying he couldn't change, he couldn't get out of the ghost body. So he cried to Surya Bhagwan, what shall I do? And he said, the best, if you want to get out of the ghost body, you have to read Bhagavatam. So he recited Bhagavad, recited the Bhagavad for 7 days. So he was sitting on a bamboo branch, and it had the knot, bamboo has the knot. And then one day he read Bhagavatam Canto 1, break 7, and then 7th day he came out of the ghost form. So it shows, never mind what you do, but Bhagavatam is so powerful that even if you are a ghost or anything, you can get out of the body from that. No other scriptures can do. That's this glorification is in Hindi Bhagavatam, and it's very so. It shows how powerful the Bhagavatam. So if somebody pass away in your family, I mean, probably something happened. He can't reach the proper destination. To get out of him, to give him proper destination, have to recite the Bhagavatam at home for his soul. And so that's the power of Bhagavatam, and we should read Bhagavatam. And it doesn't matter after we die, somebody read it for us. It's better to read when we are still alive, with our own mouth, with our own eyes, with our senses, to purify our senses. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, in the context of, so we are fortunate that if we develop a taste for something nourishing like Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, we not everybody test it. So, we are fortunate to develop a taste for Bhagavatam. And so we could say that, we've been eating junk food previously, and we develop a taste for something that is materially and spiritually nourishing. Then, what else can we ask for? Thank you, Mataji. Pundrikaksh Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, devotee. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, very nice verses, all of this. The first verse, it mentioned that the questions asked by the sages headed by Saunakuma Rishi are actually praised by Sutta Goswami. So questions are very important. No question is wrong question as such. No question is bad question, especially when it comes to understanding your spiritual life. And the questions, there are devotees who can resolve your questions. So that's when the second text it's mentioned about Bhagavatam and person Bhagavatam. And person Bhagavatam is our spiritual masters. And as we understand, spiritual master is free from all senses, like they are not going to act selfishly. They are not going to do anything for their purpose. They are going to do anything only for the upliftment of fallen souls. And they are very neutral. So that's why only spiritual master can guide us. And he understands the scriptures because he is free from those sensual pleasures, and he is doing only for the pleasure of the Lord. So even my Gurudev always suggested to come to him, like always he asked us to come to Gadagiri, listen to my Bhagavatam class. He did Bhagavatam class every day, and then he was doing Bhagavat second one, which is written by Vrindavan Thakur, I think. And then by that time actually he left this world. But he was doing these classes, and he always I have seen personally, I met devotees there when I went there. It's a small village. They do not study like us, like every day, every book, every Sunday they don't attend. They're always engaged in the service, but only 1 hour dedicatedly they sit in the Guru Maharaj class and listen to his class. And I can see the real difference in me and them when I go there, when I met them and ask any question. They are able to clarify every question. Whereas if you see them, they are not materially they are not educated, and they are only engaged in service and listening to Guru Maharaj class. That's it. They do not open any book as such any day, and they sincerely chant 16 rounds before 4 o'clock in the morning. That's what Guru Maharaj asked them. So sincerely, like if we get that association of Guru Maharaj, we have devotees, seek their help, ask questions, and let them get resolved. Because like without getting our question resolved, we cannot even develop that love and affection for the Lord. That may become obstacle in reaching the Lord himself. Like even the devotees, normally they have questions about Ramayana, like why Mother Sita has been banned by Lord Ram. If Lord Ram is so good, then how he has done these kind of things? How Jatayu, who is left to be killed in the hands of Ravan? So many questions will come, but there are devotees who understand them very nicely and give us a very clear information on why that in such a situation Lord acted in that way. Because Lord is always neutral. Lord is not partial at all. And that information we can only get through the association of devotees. And Bhagavatam is a specially given scripture to us. This is the last question we asked by sages that where do religious principles lie? And that's where like Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Krishna is there in front of us in the form of Bhagavatam. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami given us Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I was just listening to one of the class by Gaurang Darshan Prabhu yesterday. Gaurang Prabhu, he was saying that when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami were writing this Chaitanya Charitamrita, he said, people may question him that you have written everything in Bengali and in slokas. So who can actually understand this? Who can actually relate this? So he said that I want to give something which is not manipulated. I just want to give as it is. And this is what I have seen. This is what Lord has spoken. So I just want to give that. I don't want to give something which is for Lokapriya, in the interest of the people. I want to give something for Lokahita, for the benefit of the people. And if I don't do this at this time, then who can do this now? Like I need to give about Gauranga to everybody. So that's how Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gave us Chaitanya Charitamrita. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Yeah, he's like 75 years old when he started, and he did what he could. But as mentioned here, these scriptures are conscious. If they will find their way. Like that they did what they could, and then they know that the scripture will find their way to everyone who willing to hear them or read them. So we got so many translations now all over the world in so many different languages, thanks to Srila Prabhupada. So they have found their place. So thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, Kin Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Yes, it starts off by defining or mentioning success. The success in our life is not to do with material acquisition, material gains. The success of this world or in our lives is to attain the absolute knowledge, the absolute truth. And hence, the sages ask those questions, the perfect question and with the perfect answer. We have wasted much of our time with the acquisition of being in the clutches of Maya Devi. We need to realize that the only absolute truth is God realization. We have been diseased, and this is the disease of being in the material world. The surgeon through the Vedas comes in the form of Krishna and his other reincarnations, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They provide us with the vaccinations, the medications to have this treatment. The treatment is simple. Just focus on the Vedas and the distillation of the Vedas in the form of Bhagavatam. This is the spotless and the most faultless and flawless Purana. We don't need anything else. This is it, the Gita, Bhagavatam, and CC. This is the only three tenets and books that we need. The Bhagavatam also talks about the Jiva Tattvas. And yes, they may appear mythical, but they're not mythical because look at the devotion Prahlad had. Look at the type of devotion that the others had as well. Krishna had 16,000 wives. They talk of it in a mythical terms. Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill on his little finger. I went round Govardhan 2 weeks ago. It took us 7 hours to do 21 kilometers. It's not a little hill, it's a massive thing. And Krishna is beyond words, and his magnitude is beyond our comprehension. He knows our weaknesses, he knows our strengths. And there was something that Keshav Maharaj said just, don't compare yourself with others. Be yourself, be authentic, right? The Bhagavatam teaches you, there's so much knowledge immersed in the Bhagavatam, but we have to find our own journeys, our own improvements, and we do not need to compare. I mean, we've got the most fearless the most erudite narrators, and they are so brilliant. We can't be them. God made us in our own images, and we have to fulfill that purpose that we have been given. He knows what our intentions are, but our intentions should be authentic and to serve our purpose for humanity. It shouldn't be about trying to gain, but it should be about giving. It should be about offering. And all that the Bhagavatam teaches us is this is Krishna coming to talk to us directly, one-to-one, and in a sangha, and telling us, look, there may be some leelas that I'm illustrating, but this is an actual, factual, Vedic science, art, philosophy that took place. And all I'm interested is in your intention to surrender and serve me, as did all the inhabitants of Vrindavan under Govardhan Hill, who had ultimate faith and affection for Krishna, knowing that he is their only savior. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna finishes with saying, surrender unto me, and then in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, he shows the devotees who surrendered and what happened by surrendering unto him. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hina Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Some wonderful, wonderful points have already been expressed by the devotees so far. So I think a couple of things that I just wanted to add was around how if you know Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, then you almost have, in our sastras, you have complete knowledge, and that you know everything that you need to know. And I think you made a nice point about your Guru Maharaj Prabhu about as devotees, we have a duty to help others to also find this path and link them back to Krishna as well. I like my own thoughts. I was kind of mulling over like text 31 and how it's really important that we need to have faith in our sastras and in the leelas and all the stories in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And I think it's very common. Many of you may have heard the analogy of how sometimes we need to compare ourselves like a frog in a well. We're trying to understand these leelas, but with our puny, limited minds, it's no surprise that we find it very difficult to understand or grasp some of these stories and frame them, because the problem is we're framing them based on our own limited life experience. Stories like, how can Krishna herd millions of cows, or, how is it possible that there's a milk ocean in the universe, for example. But what I've kind of learning myself is that we just require a little faith initially, just a little faith, that we just need to be open, and then, and also admit that we don't know everything. We are insignificant. What do I know? And these sastras are there to show us what we can't see, and teach us what we don't understand. So that was my reflections. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Yeah, this mentioned that's the only payment that's required is faith. We get everything else for free. Just the payment is faith is very important. From Shraddha, everything starts with Shraddha, starts with faith. And as faith develops, our attachments also develop. Okay, Prabhu Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, with faith, I'm thinking like the mercy of the Lord as well, Prabhuji. When we have His mercy, then only I think we come to get all this knowledge. So everybody's like glorified Bhagavatam, and all I can express is my gratitude to everyone, to Vyasadeva, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Prabhupada, and all the devotees, your association and you reading Bhagavatam. And without Bhagavatam, we are lost. So Bhagavatam says is like having the presence of the Lord, non-different from Krishna. And even this morning we're reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, and it just was expressing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood and separation from Krishna, and how it says we have to use every sense only for Krishna. And here we are still entangled in this material life. So I always keep thinking, I don't think I can progress until we simplify our lives. But again, we need Krishna's mercy. So like Pundrikaksh Prabhu, he mentioned where his Guru Maharaj and his disciples are, they are so simple and so knowledgeable. Knowledge comes with simplicity. And yes, I'm just lost. it's just amazing, but feeling very, very fortunate. So we get, even if I can't express myself, at least I know I am getting purified. So that is the power of listening to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and chanting. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you. Suresh Prabhu, you want to make any comments? Anything you'd like to say? It's okay if you're driving, that's fine. Okay. Jasmine, this is Suresh, so I'm assuming is your better half. I'm not sure. But yes, no, anyway, welcome. Nice to have you both joining. Please keep joining. Wonderful. Radharani, you want to say anything today?
I just want to thank Hare Krishna all. My pranams to all of you. Thank you all for sharing your realizations about Bhagavatam. And it's so heart-touching to know that how much Bhagavatam is giving us. And I have got nothing to add today. All I can say is that please keep this association and strong and help us along with yourselves to progress in this journey of learning to know Krishna through Bhagavatam day by day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes, thank you all so much. We will catch up on Monday. Have a wonderful Ram Navami. So much happening next week. Our Guru Maharaj's Vyas Puja. And then on Wednesday, that's on Tuesday. On Wednesday, we have our overview. So please join for that as well. So we'll catch up on Monday anyway. We'll discuss. Thank you so much. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai. Gaur Premanand.
Hare Bol. Hare Krishna.